Okay. All righty. And heck yeah, man. We are live. People been waiting. First off, folks, boy, I tell you, what a day, man. What a week. What a few weeks. Last week, I went on Twitter and challenged you, Gareth, the God, Soloway. By the way, has that caught on with anyone outside? Like, has anyone else that you've talked to a bit, like, called you the God by any chance? Is that picking up yet?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'll definitely let you know. You're the sole one that says that, and I get a little embarrassed every time, but it's all good, buddy.
I know you get a couple extra shades of red. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Gareth the God Soloway. And then I coined Memelon. I'm trying to get Memelon. Oh shit.
That's all good.
I'm trying to get Memelon to pick up as well. So yeah, man. First off, thanks for being here. And originally, I wanted to bring you on because I felt like we had differing opinions on oil and gold. As far as crypto and Bitcoin, I actually think you are one of mainly like two other people that I know who've kind of had the same feeling about Bitcoin, where it would go for the past year. I feel like we've kind of been saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Which is down, you know. But yeah, man, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's truly a pleasure. I love chatting with you. I love that we have so many kind of the same kind of knowledge based stuff on the charts and on everything like that. And yeah, I love the fact that we can differ on things, and I think that's really helpful to everyone watching because who knows if I'm right, who knows if you're right, but let the public make the decision on their own. Each person should have that ability.
Hell yeah, man. So first off, couple of big things. Obviously, Bitcoin's going down or has been going down. Now UST, this whole Luna thing. I want to say my little piece on it, and then I kind of want to defer to you if that's all right. I don't know how much you know about Luna or whatever, but something about Luna and the whole UST thing stunk to me for a while, and the only reason why it's two people that are very like close to me in my circle really liked Luna. One of them in particular is someone that's close to me, and for Christmas I gave him kind of a little lump sum of cash, and they said that they're gonna put it right into Luna, and I was like, oh fuck, man, just pay the damn bills, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to be frank with you and the folks in the audience, I don't really know the correlation. I'm not studied up on Luna. I just know that every few months and even more than that in crypto, there's this new amazing shiny token with amazing promises that everyone buys into really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not surprised to see it kind of, biting people in the ass right now. It literally just dumped back down to 76 cents. Do you have any thoughts on Luna UST, or do you want to share charts or anything? Do you have any thoughts on, and hopefully everyone can hear us both okay.
Yeah, I can hear you, so I'm going to assume everyone can hear us. But I think number one is, and listen, I'm not as familiar with the crypto markets. I'm more of a chart guy. I've gotten into crypto, but like I've always been perturbed by like why do we need so many stable coins? Like why can't we all use Tether, or why can't and maybe like a couple are okay, but it seems like there's just too many coming out. And the bottom line is like there are going to be bigger players like hedge funds and that have these algorithms that can figure out how far they have to push something or how much money is backing something before they can break it, right? So if Luna has 3 billion in Bitcoin, okay, well, if they spend 3 billion or whatever, can they break it and then make 10 billion from that? So I think that that's a really kind of crazy scenario where we're seeing it play out before our eyes. And I also think that it definitely you need regulation. You need some sort of, and I know regulation is like the scary word in the industry, but the bottom line is this is not a good thing for all of crypto, right? You can't have these kind of shady things going on where something is supposed to be pegged to the dollar, and before you know it's trading at 70 cents per dollar, where people are trusting, right? And we still have an issue in crypto. You still have an issue with a lot of people in the world not trusting it, including older Americans, including pension funds that you want ultimately to invest. So I think the bottom line is that hopefully this gets worked out and figured out, but it's just one more reminder that it's the Wild West out there, and we got to be careful. And I've been playing around with Terra Luna, but I've kept it to a small percentage of the portfolio. And luckily, I'm down on it right now, no doubt about it. I thought we would have gotten a technical bounce already. I'm still optimistic it can still get some sort of bounce, but again, it's all about position size, position size, position size. You can try any support level or short any resistance level, but monitor that position size.
So, if you don't mind me asking, when you got into Luna, so there's Luna and then there's UST. They're two separate things. Am I correct?
I believe so, yes, but I believe Luna is who controls or has put out UST, I believe.
Okay. So when you like made your positions on it, I'm imagining your chart guy was it was like because of the charts, not so much the fundamentals and who's making it or
yeah,
right? Okay.
and that's you're exactly right. It's all based on chart levels, and this is one of the things is that if I do 1,000 trades, I really try to turn off my brain about anything else, like any news I'm hearing, like is CNBC talking about Apple. It's it doesn't matter if it's crypto or stocks or anything. I turn my brain off in that respect. Now 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100 times that works, because usually when you're listening to the media or you're listening to other things, it makes you do the wrong thing at the wrong time. But there's always an occasion where you can get yourself in trouble because there is that black swan event. Something crazy has happened. So again, you have to I always go into trades kind of saying, okay, if this goes wrong, how am I going to do it? How am I going to minimize losses? And really it comes down to position size. Like I'd much rather, this is one of the things I've learned through many, many years of trading and unfortunately taking many losses in my early career, is that I'd much rather go into a trade being cautious and putting a limited amount of capital in, as opposed to going all in and then potentially losing my shirt, because it's easy to come back from a 5% loss in your portfolio or a 3%. But if you lose 50 or 100%, I mean, it takes a lot of savings and replenishing that account to come back from that. And at this stage of my career, I'm not okay with that anymore. I got to provide for my family. I got bills to pay, as do a lot of people. So I always go in kind of thinking this might be a loss. So how am I going to start small? And then ultimately that's helped me with Terra Luna here to protect where it's not a very big position. So it's like, okay, it goes against me. I'm not going to add to it. I'm not going to do anything else at this point. I'll let it play out and see where it is in a week from now or so.
So, for the record, I know you've really been making the rounds with the crypto influencer and YouTuber in the crypto community. And first off, bravo, you're doing a great job, and everyone looks up to you, and they take what you say with weight, as do I. And your trade record is astonishing.
Thank you.
I actually love, I love looking at people's history of successful trades. It's a good thing. So, okay. So we're not going to talk about crypto anymore. The whole point for this stream was to talk about oil, gold, and cattle futures. So what do you think about bonds of cattle futures? I'm just kidding.
Can we do orange juice futures?
Yeah, oranges in Florida probably going up if there's an ETF on it or something.
There you go. But the one, if I could just jump in, the one last thing I'll say on crypto is that I do think that the fact, so Terra Luna has made a lower low. We've seen it go down to like $14 now or so. I think it's right now at 17. But the fact that Bitcoin is still holding 30,000, which was the low yesterday, I think that is a short term. If there's one small glimmer of hope for the crypto market, it's that a lot of these coins are still holding their lows from yesterday, even though Terra Luna has broken down. And I think that is worth mentioning.
So I was joking about not talking about crypto anymore. I'm sorry to say that. So all right, so let's give the people what they want and what I want, which is I want to see Gareth with a Bitcoin chart. And you know, like I, for example, haven't been like last week. I really haven't been making too many videos because I feel like there's nothing new for me to say. Been saying I can only say the same thing so many times, and I'm not like a daily video type of guy. And so I kind of know what you've been saying in for preaching, but do you want to share your screen and let's
Yeah,
take a look at the
absolutely,
old
buddy.
Gareth?
I think you have to give me permission. It says host disabled participant, so maybe click on the top right
Share
corner and make
screen
me like a host or
options.
something.
One. Okay. All right. Hold on, folks. Here. Hold on here. All participants. Okay. All right. I clicked it. Give her a shot.
Nice. All right, here we go.
Okay. Hang on
Yep,
now.
that's a beautiful thing right there. Awesome.
Okay.
All
Hang on
right,
now. Let
so
me.
whoops.
Hang on now. I gotta move. Hang on. I gotta move this over real quick. Bear with me here, and I'll let you know when everyone can see.
All right.
Oh shoot. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. And full screen. Boom. All right.
Awesome.
You're on.
All right. So as everyone knows, I mean, for the longest time, I've been talking, and it's really seemed like I was beating a dead horse here because it was staying within this consolidation pattern for so long. But when you have a move like this, and then you stay in this tight range, it's case in point, go to any textbook on technical analysis, and it's a bearish pattern. It's a bear flag, bear consolidation, and ultimately, it took a while for it to break down, about 3 months, but it certainly did do that. It went
Wow.
exactly where it should have gone, which is,
That is a
again,
beautiful, like, I know everyone's freaking out right now and whatnot, but as far as just as patterns go,
yeah,
back in the day, man, years ago, I'm saying this as a 2017 guy acting like I'm an OG or something, even though it kind of feels like it. But, Bitcoin didn't really sink into these standard market patterns as much as it is now. So I think that is, a positive we could take away. Just something to think about that's positive. Like, it has grown. There's more fundamentals. It's following more fundamental patterns now, like even the double top thing. So this is
yep.
beautiful to look at. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please do, because I think you're 100% right. Is that as it becomes more traded and there's more volume and more participants, it's going to behave more like it should, which is following the chart stats, right? So yeah, you're 100% right. And I mean, what was amazing about this, it even shocked me. I mean, I was literally able to short up here and like buy it. You could just play it back and forth for the
Yeah.
bounces and the pullbacks until finally it did break down. And then look at the beauty of that, how it just goes to right at that even number, which marks basically the lows from
Yeah.
2021. And that's where you get the technical bounce.
Yeah.
So really, case in point, that's exactly what you would expect. You have the classic M top here, almost a double top, but it took out the highs by just a shade.
Right.
So I think for me, it's at this point expecting a short-term bounce on Bitcoin. I don't know if it's going to retrace to the scene of the crime, which would be this white trend line here, which is around 38,000 or so, or maybe it gets a smaller bounce. But I ultimately, and I think you're in the same camp, is I don't think this is over by any stretch. I mean, there's levels to play on bounces, but I personally don't think that this is over by any stretch. You still have to see quite a bit more downside. I was doing a calculation here that's kind of fun to talk about. You can kind of see it on the chart, right? So there's a couple different calculations in technical analysis. One is called the measured move. And to do a measured move, you basically take the initial move. So from the high here of 69,000 to the low of 33,000, and then see the consolidation is like that middle ground where it's the marathon runners basically taking a break. And then what you do is you do another 36,000. So from 48,000, you drop the same distance, which is 36,000. And scary enough, but this is kind of my worst case scenario,
Yep.
you potentially could drop down to about 12,000 on Bitcoin. Interestingly enough, if you think about past bear cycles, Bitcoin has always corrected 80 to 85%. Well,
Yeah.
guess what 80 to 85% is of the 69,000 high, right around 12,000. So again, no guarantees it gets here. I'm going to start accumulating bigger positions probably when we get close to 20, and then I'll just continue to add all the way down. But it just kind of gives us a pause, and it makes us realize that, hey, listen, it goes up much more than you think it can initially, and then it can go down much more as well.
All right, let me steal the screen away from you here because I want to piggyback. Okay, nice. You took it away for me. That's great.
Yeah, no
All right,
problem.
so let me go to the Bitcoin Weekly, and I showed this. I was talking about this in a what I'm about to go over in a video.
I love those little, what is those, wizards or
Oh,
something?
these are the three amigos. These
Oh,
are amigos.
awesome.
This is Javier otra vez Rodriguez, and there's another Rodriguez, but he is a hidden amigo. He might be showing up here
Nice.
soon, so he's hidden. Okay, so the first off, so what I'm looking at this weekly candle that we just started. I'm looking at these waves down here, the green. Are you able to see my screen or no?
Yeah, perfectly.
You are? Okay. This new candle is what just dropped this deep red cut in the money flow, and there's been some very how should I say this? God, what's the word I'm looking for? Trusted, smart people in the space that have said that my money flow is the best money flow indicator that they've ever seen. Of how it works when it goes zero line, yada yada. Anyways, so last time, long story short, is last time that we were this deep on the weekly on the money flow, right? I go back to boom, right here to these candles, which was literally this terrible drop. Let me switch actually the candles to standard candles. And we had a 40, it turns out to 45, 40%, 37%. If we go from this candle down, that was 45%. So it was this candle is where it started. Boom. 45% drop from the price it was currently at, right? And so if we're gonna go through the same thing about where it's at right now, we take our little measuring tool, start from the top, and go down to, I gotta stretch the chart a little bit. I gotta stretch the chart. Go down 45%. I got 18, 18, 18, 6, 18, 8.
Nice.
That's, now with the house of cards that we've been in, which I think is certainly can add more detriment. That's kind of my case. Well, it can kind of really get worse than, I feel like the best case scenario is we go to 18 or 20,000. The reality is absolutely 80, 85, 90%, even though no one wants to admit it. There's very few people that have the courage to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, we're here, dude. We're at the bottom of what people are hoping and praying is the bottom. I mean, if
Yeah,
we
I've heard
start
so many people say that they think that the lowest is going to be like this 30,000 level. And if there's one thing I've learned in my career is when everyone thinks it's not going to be it,
Yeah, and like, people get mad that I say I'm not in love with these coins and stuff, and I do love crypto and I love what I do, but I'm just trying to be a realist. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you should be in love with some made up token or any asset. Like, what you should love is your family and friends, and
Right.
it can just there's a lot of room for this to go down. So other than that, is there anything else that what about Ethereum, man? Because I tell you, in these times, and I'm guilty, when we're going down, we start to turn in, or at least me and a lot of other people start to turn into Bitcoin and kind of like Ethereum maximalists. Like, we kind of get away from the altcoins and you kind of go into the safer Bitcoin, Ethereum. Do you kind of do the same thing, or not really?
Yeah.
Or do you just trade it? Are you a hodler, dude? Do you hodl
No,
Cardano and
I'm not a
shit
hodler,
coins?
but I hope to be one day. One day I do. And basically what I tell people is that there'll be a certain price and a certain maturity in Bitcoin where I do believe that at that point it's going to start to stabilize. It's going to become more of that safety play like a gold has been for centuries. And at that point I do want to just tuck some away. It's hard to hodl something when you think it's going to go down another 50%.
Oh my God, my man, that's why we call him the God, because you're the only other person I've ever known that's been man enough to say it, even if they didn't believe it. I cannot hold on to an asset that I firmly believe is going down, man. I've never on this channel, at least, felt like I've spoken with someone else that has said that very thing. You know,
And
with Crow, bro, Crow was the coin. I got in at Crow at like 60 cents, rode it up to 93, took some profits, and then I rode it back down to like 50 cents. And I wailed into Crow, and I told myself that no matter what happens, I am going to hold on to that Crow. I'm going to be a Crow whale. And thank the Lord that I backed out of that statement, bro, because I would have really, really lost a lot of money if I was
yeah,
still holding on to that Crow. Taking a look at Ethereum real quick.
yep.
Just looking at the weekly, the same money flow. I'm just looking at where the money flows were before, right? So where we were at, let me zoom in here. In the past, when the money flow and our RSIs were coming down, what do the RSIs look like? They look extremely similar, extremely similar.
Yep.
Let me actually measure. So from here, technically the bottom was actually 140 days from that point. What is that, 3 or 4 months?
Hmm.
And I mean, it lasted for almost 2 years, my lordy. But
Yeah.
from that point, the price has come down just with Ethereum, which I think we could agree is more volatile, can go down
Yeah.
a little more crazier percentages. Let me see what this is. Okay, boom. Oh, this is going to get ugly. Okay, that went down another 83% from that point. So I hope this doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, it's one of those things, and I think it's important for everyone listening and watching is like yes, I don't want us to come across like perma bears, right? It's you and I both know that there'll be a price where we buy it and then there's a price where we short it. We're just trading it because that's how we make more money and we feel safer doing it for our families. There's definitely nothing that says it's going to go to 12,000. Hey, we don't even know if it's going to go to 20. I mean, we think it will, but maybe it doesn't. So I mean, everyone should have a plan, right? The most important thing is to say to yourself, okay, well, where do I see it in 10 years? Is if that's your longer term horizon. And then how am I going to leg into it if it does do that? Right. So for me, I might think it's going to sub 20,000, but I'm going to still start accumulating above 20, just above 20, but I'm going to just buy little small positions just so I have some skin in the game in case I'm wrong. Right. And I'll
yeah,
probably do a very structured thing, not emotional, no emotion. Right. So maybe I'll put up my first order at like 20,500, then the next one, 3,000 below that, then 3,000 below that, and always just base it on that, not be getting emotional and say, oh my goodness, I got to get all in or all out, but just be structured and have that plan, right? And the idea is that I do believe that Bitcoin will eventually be $500,000 or $1 million. And so I do want to have some of my assets in it. It's just, again, waiting to try to get it lower in this deleveraging event. And I think it's also important to remember that Bitcoin has never been through a tightening cycle or a high inflation cycle, right? Since 2009, interest rates have really never been above 3%. The 10-year now is where just came back under, but we're seeing the Fed tighten by 50 basis points. It's a whole new ball game. And so to think that there's not going to be at least an 80% correction when that 80% correction happened even when the Fed was easy money
oh
policy.
man,
Now they're doing the opposite. So it's like it is a scary time. There's no doubt about it.
yeah, and that's so pretty much every day. I'm always speaking with someone messaging me or a friend talking about that. Bitcoin's never gone below its previous swing high, swing low, swing high. It's
Yeah.
never, once it hit an all-time high. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I understand, we can look in what we only have 10 years of looking in the past with Bitcoin, but we've also never dealt with this money printing and inflation. And the inflation numbers aren't even true because they changed the way they calculate those numbers. Like,
That's right.
the truth is inflation is how much more are you paying for that box of cereal than you did last year? Oh, you're
That's right.
paying 50% more? Well, inflation, in my opinion, is, well, I mean, that's not really inflation, actually, excuse me, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Um, so, okay.
You know what
Is
they do, and this drives me insane, and a lot of people don't realize it, but instead of raising the price on like you know, on like ice cream or on a cereal box, what they do is they don't raise the price, they shrink the box, right? So you think in your head, you're like, oh, I paid like $2.99 for that last year, but literally you're getting like 75 or 25% less in the box. So that it's actually like they did raise the price. But yeah, they do that all the time. Look at like, I still remember back in the day, like a thing of ice cream was like so much bigger. Now it's like I could eat that thing in like 2 spoonfuls.
Gareth, I don't know if you've seen my spiel on the Nestle drumsticks.
I
Um,
haven't, but now I want to see it.
oh boy.
Send it to me.
Man, I'll send it to you. We won't watch it now, but and it was a video where I was in the video. Man, so Nestle drumsticks with the caramel inside and the peanuts on top. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're one of my favorite desserts. I've
Yup.
been buying them and eating them as a treat for a very long time. Well, this year, within the past year, drumsticks have decreased in size, I estimate between 30 to 45%, closer to
Wow.
40%. And I've showed it on video. Now, the box doesn't say mini drumsticks or kids lunch. And you know, when I look at the price of, I pull up the price of sugar. I don't know if I'm looking at the right thing, the right chart here. I need to S1. Is it S1? Uh,
Um,
sugar. Okay, let's see here. Sugar SB. Okay. So if we go to November of 2020, the day after the election is where I set my mark. Okay, let me do. Are you still able to see my screen?
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool. So November, boom, here, we'll put it right here. Okay. Sugar has, well, as of today, gone up 30%. It
Yep.
was up to 40%, right? And that's, you know, Nestle's main ingredient, man. The price of their main ingredient went up 45%. And so, bro, Nestle drumsticks, they decreased their size by 30,
I
40%
believe it, man.
to the
It's
T.
happening everywhere. And then what's really tricky about that is like if you're, I mean, you know, luckily I'm in a pretty good position. You're in a good position financially, but I mean, there's a lot of Americans that are feeding a family of 3 or 4 kids, right? And they're not going to be like, oh, well, the price went up, so I'm going to eat less. I mean, they're kids, they're growing, right? And it's tough right now. The inflation side is really bad, and you know, I do hope that they figure out how to get it under control fast because I don't think the prices are going to ever go really down, but you
Yeah.
just don't want them to keep expanding at this rate this quickly because that's really bad.
And you know, when I look at, and this could be a decent segue into oil, actually, um, these commodities aren't even at all-time highs technically. And it's like, well, in my opinion, if we're not even at the price where it's been before, things, in my opinion, are worse than they were before. So one of my cases for the debate against you with oil and commodities was we haven't even hit the all-time highs, and if things are worse, shouldn't we hit all-time highs and then some, you know?
Yeah.
Now I also know that in these depressions, pretty much everything goes down. And so maybe you could help shed a little bit of light, um for, you know, like if the market tanks, is the price of sugar going to go down? You know, gold, I think, is stuck at 2000. I don't know how it's ever going to break 2000 when 70% of the gold sell paper is from the same 3 banks, and I don't know what the hell has to happen to these banks, those 3 banks, in order for gold to ever get past 2000. They got to go out of business. That
Yeah.
data was from 3-4 years ago, man. I've been trying for the past hour. I've been trying to find that document. But I haven't found it. But 2-3 years ago, 70% of the gold sell short paper was just from the top 3 guys, and there's just not enough money to. There's just not enough to buy it, even when there's lines outside. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I think that you know, it's important to remember that you can have a recession or a depression with inflation. that the scariest word to economists and to really the public is stagflation, right? So usually when you have inflation, it's coupled with economic growth, with higher wages. So if the price of an apple is up 10 cents, well, everyone's making 10 cents more so they can pay for that apple. It doesn't really hurt them. The worst thing is when you get a recession where people are making less or losing jobs and prices are still going up. So again, I think that's what I'm starting to be concerned about later this year into 2023. The Fed is trying to get inflation under control. I honestly don't think they will fully. I think inflation will come down to like 5% maybe per year. And then I think it's going to be sticky. And the main reason I think it's going to be sticky there is because, you know, wages have gone up for almost everyone, right? I mean, if you think about right now, there's 1.5 to 2 jobs for every person that is looking for a job. So they're having to pay more wages to get that person to take that job because there's a lot of competition. The problem with that is that they can't pass. Like if you're going to pay someone 50,000 instead of, or you're going to pay them 60 instead of 50, you can't pass 10,000 right along in your widget price. So what you do is you say, okay, well, this year I'm going to raise widgets by 10%, next year 10%, next year 10%, and you kind of pass it along over time. Otherwise, if you don't pass along the inflationary costs, you go out of business, right? I mean, you can't make money. So that's my concern. And then I think, again, the Fed is going to be put in a position where hiking rates, you're already seeing the stock market decline. That's doing away with the wealth effect, which was one of the reasons inflation got so crazy. And then crypto's done the same thing. So you're going to have people that feel poorer because their 401ks are down 40%, their investment accounts are down 40%, and they're not going to want to spend money and they're not going to feel like that. So it's a crazy time right now. And you know, it's one of those times where I personally, I do like gold. I personally think oil will come down. I think you're on the opposite side. You're looking for oil to move up. So yeah, we can talk about that more though, for sure.
Yeah. You know, if we had this debate last week, you know, for a few days, I would have been hooting and hollering. I got natural gas up here. You know, I hit a little. I've been in natural gas, oil, war stocks since November 5th, 2020. I mean, I went heavy and I've added kind of more throughout then. It's been just an absolutely amazing plays. Common sense to me. So last week, would have been better for me because it did come up a little bit. It's coming down a little bit, but let me pull up some oil stuff here. Okay. Because it's still, to me, it looked like this is like her. They all pretty much look the same. So to me, it looks like it's, you know, oil doesn't move as fast as crypto. It's not as volatile for the most part. Although lately, oil, pretty much everything's acting like crypto. So to me, just with my different indicators and flows, it looks like it's just repeating the same thing that it has been. And it can only go up so fast. It is not hasn't even reached previous highs. In 2007, oil was $150 a barrel. And I feel like we can at least get to 150 and then more. But the stagflation, to be honest, just makes me not know what the hell's going to happen. But then with the Russia and the oil thing and OPEC, I know these guys, I know these politicians love stretching out these perma wars and things like that just don't end fast. And it's like, you know, I feel like they're almost testing how much pain people can take. And I feel like people, media wise, it's that we're taking the pain. And so I feel like they're going to increase it, man. But you go ahead and talk about oil.
All right. Yeah. You mind if I share my chart?
Yeah. Let me. Yeah. Please do.
Awesome. So kind of, and I'll just talk in while you put it up there. But basically, this is the monthly crude chart. So one of the things that I think is fascinating about the monthly crude chart is that, let me get rid of those lines there, is that if you put a trend line from the low in 2008 to this low in 2015 to this low. Now, remember, this is where crude oil went negative, which was just insane. But this is the body low right here. And if you stretch a parallel perfectly up, it actually gave us the exact high that crude went to when it hit $130. So if you go look at the last, really at this point, the last 13 years or so, crude has stayed within this range. So that right away gave me a little bit of pause when everyone was saying, hey, it's going to be at $200 a barrel. I said, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense when you're hitting this trend line up here. And so far we've pulled back. Okay. You know, the biggest thing I can see is that, like, in 2008, when we got up to $140 in crude, the US was a very small producer compared to what we're doing now. So now we're basically the biggest producer in the world of crude oil. So that's the positive. I also think that when
we're producing, you think we're producing more oil than other countries and the Saudis and stuff still?
Yeah, I believe by individual, not with OPEC. OPEC has all of the countries combined, but I believe we are now and listen, I could be wrong, but we're right up there. But I think we are the biggest producer of oil out there at this stage, and country wise. Again, definitely verify via Google if you guys want, because I'm not 100% sure, but I did hear that. Okay. But one of the things to kind of keep in mind is that what we've seen is, as oil went up to $110, $120, $130, we saw gasoline prices basically up to all-time highs. And that's what impacts the consumer, right? So the consumer really recoiled at that point. And I knew people personally, like friends and family, that were like, hey, I was going to drive cross country, or I was going to drive. I'm not going to do that because it's going to cost me like $500 in gas. And so you really see this demand destruction where when oil seems to get up to that 110, 120, 130, you see people stopping their normal behavior and consuming less. And so it does seem like, to me, that if the Fed is going to be successful in doing what they're trying to do, which is raise rates and bring down inflation, and by raising rates, they're going to slow the economy, then ultimately the demand for oil should decline, which should bring prices in. The only other caveat, the only other thing too that kind of makes me think that is that if you look at election cycles, going into midterms and elections, it's very common to see oil roll over as the politicians want oil lower. Like, you never want to be in charge going into an election with oil skyrocketing, right? So it also kind of reinforces that idea that you'll sometimes see oil come in the summer months into November when we're getting into this midterm election. So it's just kind of little things like that. But the demand destruction, I mean, we're seeing Europe potentially being in a recession now. There's demand destruction there. I mean, really all over the globe at this point.
You know, going to Google, you are right. As this is 2022, according to Google, my only question would be is if it's American companies that, you know, could be drilling offshore, some in another country, but according to Google, United States is the number one oil production in 2022 at 11,567,000, so 11.5 million barrels a day, followed up by Russia at 10.5, and then the Saudis at 10.2 million barrels a day. So I guess, you know, I think about gasoline in Europe is more expensive than in the States. Man, let me look up our production in 2019 to see how much maybe more we were doing. Okay, so in 2019, we were doing 17 million barrels per day. That was during the Trump administration. So we've sliced off. We went from 17 down to 11. So that's what, 30, 40% cutoff. So damn, I mean, I guess
when that stat was given, because I doubt that stat is based on current prices. That could have been, a couple months ago or 6 months ago. And when crude oil was lower, I'd be curious like we know that rig counts go up, up and down, meaning that when oil price is low, a lot of oil companies shut off their rigs because it's not worth them drilling. They don't make money by drilling that particular rig. But then when oil price goes up a certain point, they turn them on. So I'd be curious. Yeah, it's tough to get real-time information like this, but certainly it's an interesting stat, and it is worth taking note of it.
Yesterday, I read an article. I believe it was Chevron had their most profitable quarter or year ever. I believe it was quarter. in profits. And so yeah, they're kicking butt.
Kicking
So
butt, man.
you know, I'm not gonna say that you've convinced me. In fact, I mean, technically this pattern, you know, could be a big bull flag, but it's also
It could
been
be.
13 years.
Yeah.
You
How
know, I'm
patient
just
are you to sit in the trade?
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Today I took some profits on oil, and I've been
There you
taking a
go.
little bit of profits. I took profits on a lot of my positions. I added a little more shorts. Let's switch it up a little bit. I want to see, can we look at Netflix, Gareth? Can we look at
Yeah,
Netflix? I'm
sure.
short on Netflix.
You're short and I'm long. Oh my
You're long
goodness.
on Netflix?
What
Well,
are
I
we
mean,
gonna
when did you
do?
long? When did you long?
I've been
Today?
long, so I've been accumulating kind of all the way in this lower range here. My
Okay.
last ad was in kind of like the 175 range right down here. So up a little bit on that, but net I'm still down on the position here. But
Okay.
I've been accumulating down here.
I hate Netflix. I think they have shitty movies, and kind of like my number one. I tell you, you know, it's been one of my favorite trades in the standard market so far is Bed Bath and Beyond, bro. It
Mm,
pumped up to 28, 20 something dollars. We got in at $27.11. And it's down to like $10 and something. So that one killed it. I wish I shorted Peloton because I think that's a gut.
oh
I think they
yeah.
have no business being a publicly traded company when you're selling treadmills in a worsening economy where people are living in less square space. You're
Yep.
buying a treadmill. Get the hell out of here. I understand how with COVID for the last few years, people couldn't go to gyms. And so I understand why they inflated, but with all that fake money, I want to find more companies like Peloton that I don't think belong in the publicly traded market. So I'm going to ask you. I asked my Twitter, um, is there any shitty companies that you think still might have some room down that you can think
Down.
of?
Oh man, that is a really tough question because I mean, there are so many stocks out there that have just been clobbered. I mean, Netflix is just one of them. I mean, some of the ones I've been accumulating just for, and again, you know, just to preempt and say I'm a trader, so I'm in and out relatively quickly. I'm not like by no means am I in Netflix here for it to go back to the all-time
Right.
highs. Basically, you give me 10, 20% bounce, I'm done. I'm out of that. But I'm trying to think of what would be a good one here. Um, Man, I mean, it's so many. I was just looking at Roblox reported earnings today. I mean, look at this chart. The stock was in November when crypto was at its high, $140. It closed at 23. In the
Roblox.
after hours, it's trading at 22, down another dollar on earnings. Just
Okay,
incredible.
Roblox, is that like the video game or am I way off? What is Roblox? It sounds familiar.
Yes, they do like kind of like virtual kind of building stuff, and people can kind of build their own thing. I'm doing the worst. Probably people watching this and saying, "Oh my god, these guys don't know what they're
I
talking
know,
about."
it's funny. They're like, these guys have no idea. It's like, well, dude, we don't care really what they do. We
No.
look at the charts, bro. Like, we might have the slightest thing. So I'm not trying to make you sound like you don't know what you're talking about because I
No,
know
that's
less than what
fine.
you're talking
Here, I
about.
just description. Roblox Corporation develops and operates an online entertainment platform. The company offers Studio, a free tool set that allows developers and creators to build, publish, and operate 3D experiences. There you go.
Okay. If it's virtual reality, okay, boom. Virtual reality, I I think that's one that just popped up. I think virtual reality sucks. It's been around for so many years, has had plenty of time to take off. Parents don't want to put goggles on their kids. I don't want to have goggles on myself. I'm going to run into shit. So,
I
man,
love it.
I say, okay, what about like Oculus? Let me I'm
Facebook
gonna,
owns them, right?
who does?
Facebook, I think Facebook owns Oculus, right?
Okay, probably. I'm looking
Another stock that's been pummeled.
Facebook. Or if you're pulling it up, if you're
Yep.
pulling, I pulled up my chart here. I'm trying to look for virtual reality tickers that I can see if I can get in here and take a look in short. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull up Facebook. Let's see Gareth Soloway Facebook.
So I got it was the by the way, this trend line was just a beauty right here. You can see right bounce off of it. Um, and then it's retraced here. Might fill the gap down to 175. But again, you know, you're starting to get some of these stocks that used to be trading at like 50 or 100 PE ratios. And I don't know if you pay attention to those, but they're actually trading. I mean, like Facebook's trading at like a 15 forward PE now, which is semi reasonable. Finally, just like Netflix. Netflix, it used to trade at like a 200 PE. I couldn't figure out why. Now it's trading at like a 15, 14 forward PE. It's actually semi reasonable. Even if you don't like the content, I still look at it and say, you know what, been beaten down so long, due for a bounce. Just due for a bounce. That's it. I don't have to love it. I don't have to hate it, but just due for a bounce.
Man, so okay, so this is okay, here we go. So that was made of metals. I'm pulling up some stuff here. Man,
You want me to stop sharing so you can share?
yeah, sure. Let me go ahead and switch it back. Hey, there's our man. What a stud. Your hair is looking. I like the slick back thing. I'm digging the slick back
Dude,
thing, dude.
So I've gotten very into some of these like Viking shows, and I'm growing out this top so I can do like a little like braid in the back.
Yeah. Dude, you pull it off, bro. I think it's looking good, man. Hell yeah.
Thanks.
All right. So all right, we'll take a look at Facebook here real quick. I just kind of want to see what I want to see here. Yeah, man. See, I feel like I mean, if this breaks much lower, dude, like I mean, I feel like we're at the point where it's like
Yeah.
it has to come up now, or I mean, you're telling me people aren't gonna freak out if this starts breaking through, if this breaks through this trend line here? Like, I feel like there's gonna be some alarms going off, man.
Yeah.
And this is like just I'm just looking at the flow of cash and the last time we were here, and it's like, well, we're at that point now where it's like literally do or die.
Yep. No, I 100% agree with you on that. 100% agree. They had a nice bounce on earnings. The stock was up about 20% because it had been beaten down so badly. They came out slightly better than expected. But I mean, I'm with you. I think that the whole market is eventually going lower. It's just a matter of, is there a window for a bounce in the near term because things are a little too beaten down? And, you know, one thing to watch tomorrow is that CPI number, the CPI, Consumer Price Index. If that comes out hotter on inflation, markets are going to tank, including crypto. If it comes in slightly better than expectation, meaning lower inflation, then the market probably rips higher. So it's going to be a big number tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, so what do you think's gonna happen? And you're gonna be up at 8:30 in the morning, obviously. Are you going to sleep tonight?
I honestly, I don't know. I know that the number, I think they're expecting 8.3 or 8.1% CPI number, so inflation number of 8.1 to 8.3. If it comes in at above 8.3, then you don't have the top of inflation yet. If it comes in below, then the market will get excited thinking that inflation has topped and is going to start to come down. So it's probably the biggest number we have seen in a long time for this market. And it's literally like we could see 1,000-point down day on the Dow tomorrow, or 1,000-point positive day. It could be one or the other.
Man, we've been seeing it, and I feel like this is the first time that we didn't just wake up one day to the shit hitting the fan. We didn't just wake up to the mortgage crisis. And like at first it can be kind of worrisome because like, well, if everyone kind of knows about it, then it's probably not true. Like that's not how it works. But then I just go back to the fact that, well, everyone knows the cat's out of the bag, man. Like with the inflation and money printing, we've said it a million times. So like this time, you know, I don't think that we just wake up and it happens. Like there's enough information for us, and we're smart enough to see the cookie crumble in front of us.
Yeah.
Man, my fangs are kind of out right now. My fangs are out, but I tell you what, this market is really fast. You know, it's funny. I was just in a short earlier, like an hour, 2 hours before the stream, man. And I posted on Twitter, you know, I cut half the trade, took profit. And I was like, damn it. I regret taking profits because it kept going lower. And not 5 seconds after I posted that, it came right back up, and I had to tweet again under that and say, I'm glad I took profits. And man, really, that's just the moral of my story that I've been trying to tell my community is, listen, man, if you are trading this extravaganza, just take the wins when they pop up. Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, and honestly, you're setting a good example by doing that, regardless of whether you could have made more or not, just it's important for people to see, you're someone that people follow and look up to, and you got to show them that, because that's, when you bet the farm and you leave the farm out there, eventually you're going to get screwed, and taking a little bit off the table protects you. It lowers your risk, and they always say no one went broke taking a profit.
Yeah. I do wish that I would, like, I'm pissed. One thing that pissed me off this past few days, really the past few weeks, is I felt like I haven't given my community, my group, good enough good public trades. Like, I've fucking excuse me, I've been, I nailed 4 or 5 great shorts, and the one time I let my community know that I even told them it was high risk, and it was actually the worst. It wasn't even off the charts. Everything looks so terrible. So I'm gonna roll the dice, see if it goes up Monday, following the trend. It didn't work well, and that pisses me off. And so it's like, this past week, I feel like it's kind of just, even though I've done really well, I'm a little disappointed because I feel like I let my people down, man. You ever
Well,
feel like that, or
oh
not
yeah,
really?
anytime I have a loser, you always kind of feel like that. But at the same time, you just have to remind yourself that, like, it's a marathon, it's not a race, right? So it's not about this trade, it's about the 100 trades, and real people that are following you, that are in it for the real reasons, the right reasons. They're the ones that are taking trades smartly. They're following every trade you do, not just one in particular. So I mean, I understand it absolutely. I mean, heck, I'm in Terra Luna right now with some of our members, and we're underwater. Luckily, our position size is small, and then we're in the money on some of the other trades that's offsetting it. But I mean, heck, it's never fun to be in a loser. There's no doubt about it. But then again, I don't think you and I can avoid it, right? I mean, no one's perfect.
Oh man, thanks, Gareth. I appreciate that, man. Um. Okay. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, although I enjoy every minute. But
Me
I
too.
want
I
to
do enjoy it.
I want to circle back and to my issue with gold.
Okay.
Um and the 70% of the paper being held by the top 3 banks, and that there not being enough, even when there's lines out the door in Vietnam, when it's sold out on jmbullion.com, yet the price is stuck.
Hmm.
I want to know if you have an idea of how we're ever going to break 2000, or what has to happen. Um that's,
Wow.
yeah, man. I mean,
So
I
so
just
I am a gold believer, in terms of, eventually I think crypto does take its spot, or at least a majority of it. But right now, crypto is too it's a crypto is a 13, or Bitcoin's a 13-year-old, right? And therefore it behaves like a 13-year-old very erratically. Gold is thousands and thousands of years old, so it kind of is much calmer. Um, for me, I look at the gold chart, and if you look at the 1970s, in fact, I could show this to you,
Yeah,
if I
let's
can
share your
share my
screen.
screen. This is something
Let's
really cool to
share
see.
your screen. Okay, hang on. I got to move you back over here.
All right. It's one of my favorite things to show about gold and how it's behaving, because it's
My
so
10% gold trade, when I nail a 10% gold trade, I feel like I made $1,000,000. I love nailing 10% gold trades. I love it.
come
All
on, you
right.
only had to put 10 million on just to get a million off
I
10%. So
know.
you
So
got that.
something, when if you're at, like, your girlfriend's grandfather's house for dinner, and you tell them 10% gold, take that, grandpa.
What's this is, by the way, I'll get into the gold in a second. I just got to say, this is like the craziest thing about it is crypto has created investors that are like used to scoring like 100% wins in like a few months or in days. And like, you go to the stock market, and like a good hedge fund returns like 20 to 30% a year, and that's like a $100 billion hedge fund.
Yeah.
It's nuts how people have gotten so used to these crazy gains. It's
Yep.
not normal. If
Not
there's
at
one thing
all.
I can say, it's not normal.
Yep. I know. I get people. If I make anything less than 50 grand in a trade on a stream, that I get told I pretty much lost money. It's insane.
Oh my God. Oh, geez, man, I hear you. But all right, so let's take a look at this gold chart real quick here. So one of the things I love to point out is, number one, the inflation we're experiencing right now, the nearest comparison is the 1970s and 80s, right?
Okay.
So what I love to do is I love to look at the charts and compare timeframes. I know you do the same thing. So if you look at 2018 to 2020, we had this breakup in gold. And then basically for the next 2 years, it consolidated, right? It was just sideways, just downward consolidation, recently just broke out. So 2 years up, 2 years of consolidation. Now let's go to the chart from the 70s and take a look here. And it's going to just take me a second to get back.
Yep. Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
All right.
So
Here
can you tell the audience why you're looking at the 70s? Is it just because stagflation? Is it the chart itself? Why specifically the 70s?
Just basically that it's the only time in recent history, or it's the last time in history that we had inflation as high as it is now. So
Okay.
so if the thesis for gold, and I think people would agree, is, you know, the idea of gold is that it protects you from dollars, right? If they're printing lots of dollars, you want to be in an asset that cannot be just printed ad nauseum. So that's kind of the reason I compare it to, because it's the only time frame we have to compare it to, at least the one in 40 years ago or whatever, 50 years ago, where inflation was about the same. So what's pretty cool here is that if we look at the chart from the 70s, let me zoom in a little bit, you have this same sort of pattern, right? So you had 2 years from basically 72 to 74. Oh my God, look at that line. That's a little too big. Bear with me here. So from 72 to 74, you went up. Then you had 2 years of consolidation. And then you started this mega sized breakout to the upside. So one of the key points to look at is, well, how far did gold go? And again, replication wise, look at this move on gold.
Yeah.
So in the 70s, so here's your two years up,
Okay.
2 years of consolidation, and then look at what happens.
And then how many years? How many years is?
So that was basically from the consolidation, which would be like, let's say now, it was from almost 77 through 80. So in the next 3 years, gold went from $100 an ounce to $900 an ounce. I mean, those are crypto returns.
Yeah, baby. 10. What is that? So that's 10x in 10 years.
Yeah, basically 10x. Now, I honestly don't think it's going to do 10x. You know, I think, but I do think that you could see in 3 or 4 years, like $5,000 an ounce. You know, you could see at least 100%, maybe a little bit more. But basically, that's what, you know, it's amazing because you have the same structure: 2 years up, 2 years consolidation, and then the breakout begins slow at first, and then it just starts to rip more and more. This could have been a short squeeze. I mean, you know, you're talking about these 3 banks that hold all this paper. Maybe that's something that has to do with the end run where it just gets all crazy like that. But remarkable price action here on gold from the 70s, and it's mimicking it exactly in the last 4 years.
Yeah, I hope I love gold. I know I always say I don't love tokens, but if there's one, I think if there's one thing, if you're gonna love an asset, gold. You know, the aliens. They say the aliens enslaved the Sumerians thousands of years ago for gold, so it must be doing something right. Well, right on, man. Other than that, I think we pretty much reached our 1 hour time slot. Man, it's always a pleasure having you on. I'm a big fan. I've been a fan for a long time, and
I'm a fan too. And I appreciate the kind words you say. You mentioned me in, and honestly, we gotta chat. I bet people find these chats very, very useful. So if you ever get the urge again, I would love to join you and talk about other things again. You know, it's always fun.
Hell yeah, man. I'll hit you up and continue. Maybe we can do like a monthly Gareth the Godfather Soloway consigliere, you know, especially in these times, you know, especially you know, the people need you more than ever. With great power comes great responsibility.
They need you, buddy. They need you. You got to keep taking half off the table like you've been doing. That is exactly what you got to be doing, and you're doing it right.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, man. Yeah, well, thanks for coming on, and everyone. This is Gareth Soloway. Picked him up from I saw him first on Kitco News. Like Kitco News, if you haven't heard of it, definitely check him out. Your shout out what your websites. I believe you run a signal service, if that's what you want. I don't know if that's how you call it, whatever. You have verified trades. What are your sites and social medias, Gareth?
Yeah. Social media is at Gareth Soloway, and then the crypto website is verifiedinvestingcrypto.com, and the stock site is inthemoneystocks.com.
Verifiedinvestingcrypto.com. Let me pull it up and show the people, because I want to make sure if and when people go to your website, it's the correct one. Verified.
Yep.
Is it investing crypto or crypto investing?
Verified Investing Crypto.
Okay, verifiedinvestingcrypto.com. Okay. Yeah, damn. Okay, because we got to add the LUNA. Got to add the LUNA one here.
When I close it out, it'll be up there.
All right, that's pretty damn good. And you know, you've been doing this for I don't know how many years, but I have not seen one single person say this isn't real. And damn.
It's one of my proud, you know, listen, honestly, it is what it is. And like, you know, I'm certainly not perfect. And we're in this Terra Luna. Granted, we were in Bitcoin right now and Ethereum and basically flat to in the money on those. But I mean, it, you know, you got to be transparent. Transparency is everything out there. So definitely key.
All right, Gareth, I'll let you go, man. And thank you very much. God bless you. And we'll stay in touch. Let me shut the stream down.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too, brother. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you being here.